Hello and welcome back to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn and this is the April reading for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mercury. Please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for post notifications. This month I will be doing the Celtic cross spread, and the first card that comes out for you in the current position or in the position of what is happening right now is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is an indication of like disagreements, arguments, fights. It's generally just a sense of coming out of a situation where you might have had a falling out with someone that you care about. You love them, you care about them. And so this fight feels a little heavy for you because, it's like at the end of an argument when you kind of like walk away and it feels like even though like you might have won the argument, like it doesn't feel like you won, right? You still are, hurt, you're still sad, you're still feeling some type of way because it's like, even though you might have been right about the situation or you might have felt that you were right about the situation and you might have won the argument, like the overall feeling is like walking away from it, really feeling disappointed and sad because this particular fight might have impacted the general nature of the relationship in a way that you're kind of worried that you might not be able to repair moving forward. What is crossing you is represented here by the Six of Cups in the reverse. So this definitely feels like someone that you might have known for a long time. This could be like a sibling, a parent, or it could be your child. It's like a childhood type vibe, someone that you might have known for a long time, or even when you were growing up. So obviously they have some, they have some importance and some value in your life. Like I said before, you really love and care about this person. And so this particular disagreement feels like heavy to you because it feels like a definite loss, especially, like I said, of someone that you might have known for a long time. So I'm going to pull clarifiers for these cards, and I'm using the Lenormand deck, the Grand Tableau, Lenormand, I don't know, I can't say Lenormand deck, Oracle deck, to do clarifiers. The cards that came out as clarifiers for the Six of Cups is the Birds card, the Garden, and the Fox, right? So a lot of this this issue is surrounding what seems like gossip, right? I don't know why. When I pull the cards, the word that came to my mind was bochinche. So the person might speak Spanish, but it's definitely involved with like gossip, catty gossip. And so this particular person kind of does it in like a sneaky kind of way where they might not necessarily want the information that about the fact that they're gossiping about you to come out, but it feels like it might have come out, or it has come into like your understanding that this is what's happening. Normally when we see the Fox card, this is someone that operates in a way that's a little bit distrustful, or they're kind of like sneaky, and a lot of the times when people do things and they're being sneaky, it's like the concept here is that it's done as a form of like survival. So sometimes people do things and they operate in ways because of their own survival, and so that might be the reason why they're doing it is because they might have anxiety about their finances, or about their reputation, or about something public coming out about them. And so what they're doing is, it feels like they're trying to counteract what is going to be said about them or what might come out about them by gossiping about you. Or you might be operating in this way where you're feeling a little bit threatened by someone else due to your they might be threatening your means of survival, and so you're kind of like chatting about it a little bit. There's like an overall sense of like anxiety and nervousness about something coming out potentially coming out in the public, or being made public, right? So the nature of the fight might be that someone has basically put some of your business out on the street, or you're afraid that they're going to be putting your business out on the street, or someone is putting your business out on the street and they're afraid that you're going to find out about it. The thing about gossip is sometimes it's true. There's a little piece of truth to it. But sometimes it doesn't have to be any truth in it at all. It's just talk. But the fact is, when it hits the public, or when it's publicized, or something is publicized, sometimes the truth is not as interesting as the lie, and it takes on a life of its own. And so I kind of feel like that is something that is probably kind of like wearing on you, because if this is a relationship with someone that you cared about and you feel like they kind of like put you out in a way where you don't really appreciate it, this could potentially impact the nature of your relationship moving forward. And I feel like this person might not understand how heavy this gossip is, or how much damage their gossip could potentially have. And I think that is kind of playing out in terms of like the disagreement, because this is definitely causing like a bit of commotion in your life, and again, like I said, in the relationship that you have with this person. In the past position, we had the Two of Pentacles, and so the Five of Swords card is looking directly at this Two of Pentacles card in the way that the spread is laid out. And so to me, as a reader, this is an indication that it's something that has happened in the past, or the reasoning for this whole gossip situation has a lot to do with finances. So a lot of this gossip could potentially be about the way that you balance your finances, just the way that you execute your responsibilities. Like they could be talking about just the way that you work. So, they might, be talking about like, you really don't like manage your time well, or, you're like scattered, or you're like all over the place, and you don't really take your resources, seriously, or, you're not handling your business right. So a lot of the gossip is like centering that, right? And this is like one of those situations where you feel like you're close to someone and you feel like you know how they feel about you, but then it's like they are publicly saying other things to the contrary about who you are to them, or how you are as a person. And I feel like you're more hurt than anything else, because like I said, you value the nature of the relationship, and you value this friendship, or relationship. And so it's more hurtful than anything else. This could also mean for some of you that this person might have revealed secrets about your finances that you did not want revealed, that you felt like it was nobody's business, and they knew it, and then they kind of like spread that information to other people. And so that's also a part of like this dynamic as well. And that's only for some of you. I wanted to go back to the Five of Swords again to pull clarifiers for that. And the cards that came out is Whip, I think that's the Lily, the House, and also the Tree card. So some of this is kind of like specific, right? So the disagreement might be caused as a result of judgment being cast on a family member about the way that they acquire their money. That is extremely specific, right? So the Whip, it's kind of like, confusion and the disagreement and the arguments, but it's also, it kind of like, there's embarrassment here, there's guilt here, there's shame here attached to something within the family. This is definitely within the family, a family member, and potentially, like I said, about the way that they make their money or the way that they acquire their funds. There is some judgment here because it might not necessarily be moral or what's viewed as moral by other people in the family, or even by yourself. So this kind of can flip-flop. So this can be something about you, but this can also be something about someone in your family member. So you can just apply that, kind of like how it fits. In the conscious realm, I feel like the card that comes out here is the Seven of Cups. And so it feels like you don't really know how to kind of handle this disagreement, right? You don't really know what is the best approach. what is the best way to talk to them, what is the best way to handle the situation. It kind of feels like there's like an overall sense of a loss of power, a loss of control, a loss of influence, particularly if this is like a parent-child dynamic. The child might not necessarily want to listen to what you have to say. And so you don't really know how to have this conversation with them, because at the core of this, you are invested in their future. You are invested in the way that their life turns out, right? And I don't think that they really understand that, or I don't think that this is being communicated clearly, or it's just like it's a mess. It's just confusion. It's just a lot of confusion. Like I said, there's like a deterioration of power here. And so if you're a parent and this is your child, this is really like a time where you feel like you have to kind of like relinquish the control that you have over their life, and allow them to make their own mistakes and to figure out their own path, right? So there's that. In the position of the like unconscious is represented here by the Fool card, which is really, I feel like, a fear or a resistance to a new start, starting over, maybe working on developing a new type of relationship with this person. I feel like you might be resistant to it. I feel like you might be holding on to that dynamic and that relationship, again, because it holds so much value to you. But on the unconscious, I feel like just an innate fear of walking into the unknown, moving into a new state of being, or just kind of acclimating your actions or your environment to a new way of being that is outside of what you are accustomed to. So it feels like a fear there for that. The clarification for those for the Fool in reverse is the man, the sun, the ring, and the mouse. And so this kind of like represents your inability to, like I said, to move into like a new dynamic. And that could be with this man. For some of you, this is somebody that you're married to, but the relationship is kind of like falling apart. And so relationships sometimes go through like cycles. Sometimes they don't make it through certain cycles. And I feel like there's like a fear here for you that something might be coming to an end, and be having to move forward, having to move away from something that you've known, that you feel comfortable with, even though the dynamic is shifting, even though you don't necessarily look at the person the same anymore. So this could be like a man or a masculine presenting person who is at the heart of that. And for some of you, like I said, could be somebody that you're married to or somebody that you want to marry. But the nature of the relationship is shifting and changing in a way that you are kind of like not necessarily wanting to move forward and move into like a new way of being with this person. So instead of like being like boyfriend and girlfriend, like your relationship, you kind of feel isn't ready to move into getting engaged or move into a state of getting married. So you might be cutting some relationships off because it's not really making the cut for you. With the mouse card here, this is like a disintegration of something. So it could be just the disintegration of the relationship itself, but it could also be this might be someone who has like an illness or their health is not necessarily the best, and so there's something deteriorating in either the way that you view this person or also just the way that the person's kind of like acting or operating, or the way that you're looking at them. So that's the reason why the Fool is in the reverse, because there's no start here. This is like an ending, a conclusion of something. In the near future, the card that comes out for you guys is the Star. And so there is like a sense of not really being hopeful about the way this is kind of like moving, or not really having hope and faith in the people that are around you. Particularly this, with the Fool in reverse that just came out, like obviously there's an ending here. And so you might not necessarily be hopeful about moving forward, or you're not really hopeful about moving into a new state of a relationship. And so there's like a diminished kind of excitement or investment into the relationship with the Star card being present. I feel like you're going to go through that in the near future. This period, though, it looks like it's not really going to last for a long time. I feel like um, this period of like feeling isolated or feeling like not really positive about the situation is like a fleeting thing, which kind of makes sense for you. I feel like you get over things rather easily, and so this is going to be like a fleeting situation, and you're going to receive information or receive news, some sort of communication, an official communication. So that can be like a letter, a text message, an email, but it's coming from like an institution. So for some of you, you might actually end up marrying this person, or if it's an ending, you might get official communication about your divorce finally going through. So with the Sun card here, whatever news that is coming into you is positive news, and so that'll take you out of this period of like feeling, like kind of unhopeful about it. So you're definitely waiting for some official documentation, some official letter, about something that is going to bring you good and positive news. Current action is being shown here by the Devil card. So some of you might be kind of like in a state of kind of like satiating your disappointment by over shopping, overspending, having a lot of like risque, taboo sex, like getting in touch with like your dark side and not really kind of like giving a damn. I feel like you might be like just kind of in a state of like overindulging, overeating, over drinking, or using drugs, like whatever, like and I feel like it's a coping mechanism for you to kind of like deal with all the stuff that's kind of like coming at you, or to even help you in terms of like your anxiety. So drinking a lot because you can't sleep, so trying to like self-medicate in a way. Yeah. And the outside influence is being represented here by the Ten of Swords. And it's interesting because this is the deck that we're using, right? And so if you see in this particular deck in the Ten of Swords, she's like laying in the bed and she has the swords in her back. So she does feel like attacked, betrayed. There's like a backstabbing here. But if you notice in this particular rendition, she's on her cell phone, which kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about it being like a public space and like a public area. Like this talk about you is like in a public area, in a public space, and for some of you that could literally be on the internet. So the outside influences are the commentary or the conversations that you're seeing online, that is causing you to kind of like, feel a way about the information or the conversations that are being had about you when you're not around. And so that is kind of like feeding into this whole dynamic of feeling kind of like let down because this person is like talking about you in a way where it's like, if people could pay attention to subs or people know you, then they know that you're the one that's being talked about. In the position of your hopes, your dreams, and your fears is the King of Wands. So I really do feel like you want to be in a state where you're instituting some sort of control measures to kind of like protect yourself, but also just to be in control of what's going on around you, and just kind of stepping into a space of being confident and just not really giving a fuck about what people say and just kind of like staring all that stuff in the face and being like, you know what, I'm moving on from this. Like, I don't have time for this. And just kind of like letting the situation go. So there's like a real sense and a real desire for you to kind of get into a place where, your confidence doesn't allow you to kind of succumb to the conversations that are being had, right? It kind of feels like you just want to have the ability to be in a state where you can tell people to, I don't want to say suck it, but suck it. Like you're going to live your life and you're going to make decisions for your life in public and in private based on whatever it is that you feel is best for your life and not what everybody else is like gossiping or talking about, because you know what, this is not about you, this is about me, right? So this is like this really a strong type of confident energy that you want to have, or you're working towards kind of like employing, embodying, especially with dealing like the situations that have just recently happened with you or for you this month. And the final outcome here is represented by the Four of Swords. And so you're going to just kind of fall back. You're going to take the opportunity to take a break from all of the nonsense and all of the people involved in the nonsense, and really just kind of like focus on yourself, focusing on your energy, working on getting some good sleep, but just kind of like resting and just kind of letting things happen the way they happen without your express involvement in it, right? So this is interesting. The clarification cards for the Four of Swords is the fish, the book, and the snake. And so these three things together kind of like is a representation of like wealth and abundance. So for some of you, your focus is going to be on your money. So you're going to kind of like rest from all of the other stuff going on by switching your focus into something else, which is focusing on your finances. The book is like, talking about like, higher education or education. And so like tuition is usually linked to the fish and the book together. So like, tuition, kind of like dealing with that. So I think your focus is like completely shifted away from dealing with like the talk and the gossip, and just really focusing on like your finances, getting more information. Like you might be even going back to school, and having to focus on like even paying like your own tuition or somebody else's tuition that is in school. And that is definitely one way to go about it. Like focus on your money, honey, right? So that is the final outcome. I'm going to go ahead and pull some advice cards from the Angels and Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. The two cards that came out for you are Animal Guardian, Trust Your Instincts, and Medicine Mother, Honor Your Inner Knowing. The Animal Guardian says to trust the powerful animal spirit within to learn more about yourself and your talents. The Animal Guardian is a card that represents the animals of the animal kingdom. Animals are angels of nature who have incredible lessons to offer and medicine that can support you on your spiritual journey and help you survive some of your greatest challenges. When you connect with the energies of animals, you can learn a lot about yourself and the earth. You also have instinctive animal energy within that can direct you towards everything you need and more. The Animal Guardian card depicts a tribal angel being held and supported by her animals. She has a love for them and they have a love for her, demonstrating how incredibly connected nature is within the spiritual realms. You have a powerful animal that can be wild, protective, instinctive, and even calm. Animals don't second guess how they feel, they just express it, and you can learn from that. When this card arises, it's important to connect with how you really feel and how you want to feel and what you really need. Take the time to connect with your animal energy and express it naturally. Let even the fiercest energy move through you before returning to your natural state. It will teach you a lot about your gifts and how you can grow. So think King of Wands energy, right? Which is the card that came out in terms of like how you want to be, how you want to handle the situation, how you want to be presenting yourself, right? So that is your greatest desire. So tap into your own animal, your energy in order to be able to express that in the way that you handle and deal with situations, right? So that is a good piece of advice. The next card is the Medicine Mother. The message on the card is to honor your inner knowing. Take action and do what you know you need to do. Mother always knows best, they say, and it's true. We all know a maternal figure who's extremely intuitive and insightful, and this medicine mother has gone through many ups and downs. She has lived and she has lost. She knows what it's like to suffer and to want to give up. So the medicine of this card is that it's okay to make mistakes and to get it wrong sometimes, and it's okay for things to come to an end. It's not the end of the world. It's just the end of one chapter and the beginning of something new. the medicine mother reminds you that even though you will have low lows and you aren't here to suffer, you're here to be supported and to support others. Let her give you the loving encouragement to take the next step forward. There's an old pattern rising up in you now, and it's time to deal with it and release it for good. You're being encouraged to love and respect yourself enough to take the steps you know you need to take to move closer to where you would like to be. You already know the answers. You know what you need to do. You may have been using delaying tactics or holding back, but now you are being guided to take action. Action requires courage, but your angels and guides are bringing you the courage to move forward. Take just one step. When you do, the next one will be presented to you. So these two cards actually really just kind of like tie in together. So it's really about understanding the way that you feel about the situation, how you want to be treated, how you want to navigate, how you want to be looked at, and then taking that first step into making those steps towards what you need to do instead of delaying it or putting it off, right? So that explains the Fool card, right, in reverse, but it also is again a symbol of basically embracing like your natural powers, and just standing in your truth, no matter what that is for you, particularly in this situation, in this dynamic. Like you're gonna have to take some steps towards moving away from situations and not holding on to things, relationships, and people just because they've been around for a long time, right? Sometimes this is the end of the chapter. This could be the end of the chapter, right? And it's time to move forward. And so that is the message for the cards for you this month. Thank you so much for watching. Please take the time to like the video. Share your thoughts below in the comment section. Also share the video with a friend. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for post notifications. And I will see you again soon.